welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I'm Agam Akil. Well, we've seen some amount of weakness coming in this Monday. A follow-up, if I can call it that, considering we saw weakness on Friday. So 2 straight days of losses for now for the benchmarks. Another, hit of around 67 points, 0.5% down for the Nifty. We have Titan, Gale and Nestle among a handful of stocks which advanced by a little over 1%, but we do have substantial weakness in stocks like Yes Bank, Coal India, ONGC and Cipla, all of them declining by over 3%. Of course, some of them like ONGC reacting to earnings as well. On the broader markets, the picture as far as the advanced decline ratio is concerned, very similar to what we saw last Friday. 1 gainer for 2 losers. However, there is a stock which closed in an upper circuit of 20%. That's Mishra Dhatu Nigam. Muthoot Finance advancing by, eventually ending with gains of 18%. Krishna Industries on the back of earnings. And of course, you also have the likes of Lemon Tree, Manappuram Finance, Heritage Foods advancing. But on the losing end, you have Mass Financial down 13%, closing near day's lows. LIC Housing Finance under tremendous pressure. Glenmark Pharma not at day's lows, but we did see it lose out quite as soon as the conference call was over earlier in the day today. And Himadri Speciality, along with Graphite India, among others, which are losing out. But let's get in our markets editor, Neeraj Shah, for his thoughts on the markets today. Neeraj, what are you making of these?
Well, interesting afternoon of trade. We won't have too many cues for tomorrow morning. And Europe is... as we speak at about 3:30 p.m. India Standard Time, Europe was in the green. Right. So the world markets are not looking all that awful, but bogged down by PSUs in particular today. I think we've had our issues. Some interesting moves happening at the non-PSU space as well. Some stocks which are run up like Mass Financial that you pointed out, correcting quite viciously today. So we're seeing that too happen. But today's highlight arguably has been one, the PSU underperformance, and two, the fact that VIX jumped up in the session today and quite a bit. So that is the other point that one needs to monitor. Otherwise, we're meandering along, and I think dependent largely on global cues, Agam. The entire quiver full of arrows has been fired, and maybe the results will show up in the next couple of quarters if indeed there's an economic turnaround or some signs of that or no. Until then, maybe it's back to the globe, and for now the globe is not looking all that promising.
Fair enough, Neeraj. We'll be watching out for that. Thanks for that perspective there. So, for now, not a lot of encouraging cues. But let's get in Darshan Mehta to talk to us about Krishna Industries, which was one of the handful of counters which gained today. Darshan, good numbers coming through.
Excellent numbers, and it's been gaining for a while, so even on the technical side it was supporting. Now, if you look at it, most of the tire companies have come out with strong set of numbers except for a TVS Sri Chakra. Krishna always was trading at a premium valuation because of the niche product that it has, and margins again have moved from levels of 25% to 30%. No doubt there was a bit of revenue decline that came in. Profit was aided by higher other income, but operationally a 14% EBITDA jump and margins back to 30% is extremely positive. Now, raw material cost coming down had a big impact on how the numbers panned out, but overall the commentary was strong. The other important factor was the volume growth of 1% increase that happened. Now, remember, in the first half there was a 12% decline on volume growth, so clearly there is volume that's coming back. The management is believing that weather conditions are turning much better. The macroeconomic situation is now changing, and they are extremely positive. Nomura also says that the two exporting countries, China and India, and because of the issues of the coronavirus in China, India and Krishna Industries could benefit significantly in terms of export. So everything worked out in favor, Agam, for Krishna Industries, technically, fundamentally, the management commentary, con call details. So it was up almost 11%.
Fair enough. Thanks for that, Darshan. So, of course, as he's put it, some of these auto component companies, in this case specifically tire companies, have done well. But what else is buzzing and what else is standing out in today's day of trade? I'm going to get Sharad Dubey to talk to us about, more stocks that he has spotted. Sharad.
Well, Muthoot Finance came out with its set of quarterly numbers itself. It was a very operationally very good quarter itself. The stock itself had a run-up of almost 17%, in the day's trade today itself. The net interest income rose by almost 44% to coming in at almost 1,703 crore rupees, while the net profit saw a jump of almost 64% coming in at almost 841 crore rupees. Even if you see the consolidated loan assets under management, that also saw an uptick of almost 21% coming in at almost 43,000 odd crore rupees. The management talked to BloombergQuint itself in interview today earlier in the day that they told that there has been a tremendous increase in the portfolio seen in the gold segment, and apart from this they are also ready to tell that they are going to achieve the guidance of almost 15% in the top line revenues as they had stated earlier for FY20. Now today itself we pulled out the ANR function from the Bloomberg terminal and we see what the analysts are thinking about the stocks. So out of the 13 analysts tracking the stock, 12 of them have a buy rating that comes to almost 93%, while one analyst having a hold rating. Apart from this, the 12-month target price is set at almost 861 rupees. That's roughly coming in at a discount of almost 2 to 3 odd %. So this was the first stock which we are talking about, and the next stock I would talk about is Alpha Geo. So it's a low volume counter stock. It's snapping its 4-day losing streak itself. It did rise almost 16% today in tasted after the company stated in its press release that it received 2 contracts for its seismic data processing. That the deal is valued at almost 130 crore rupees from 2 government entities. Today itself, if you see the chart, if you had pulled out the stock, the 4-day losses which we had seen earlier, the stock had actually coming very close to the 200-day moving average mark, as you can see itself, and high volumes we're seeing over the last 4 trading sessions, and today's volume itself was at a multi-year high. So definitely there's a kind of a buzz happening in this stock itself. Now remember, this is a low volume counter stock, so that is something which we'll be watching out for as we go ahead.
All right, sure. Thanks for getting us that update. A really interesting move coming in from Alpha Geo especially, so we'll be watching out for that. Thanks, Sharad, for getting us those updates there. Of course, we're going to keep an eye on for a lot more of such movement, see whether or not, well, things pan out the way the volumes are indicating. But on that note, it's a wrap on the markets, but there's lots more lined up. Stay tuned to BloombergQuint.